Hey, what's up, everybody? I am your host, Lorenzo, and this is an Indie Comics Review. I am doing Wynd today. Wynd by James Tinian IV and Michael Dialanis, I believe is how you pronounce his name. Uh, Wynd is not getting the love that I think it deserves. I just finished reading the 5-issue series. I kind of fell behind, and I read all 5 issues back to back. And I'm glad I did because it's meant to be. I think it was originally going to be a graphic novel, or one complete one booked rather than 5 parts. And it was great to just read them back to back like that because it really flows a lot better that way. Um, James Tinian gets a lot of credit for his Batman work, but he really did another side of his talent in this series, and it's completely different. I guess a lot of people who like Batman probably won't like this, so they probably may or may not be watching this review. So it takes place in this fantasy land called Pipeland, or is it Pipe Town? Pipe Town, and Wynd is this kid who was found by this woman, Miss Lola, who found him as a baby, and she nursed him in I guess in secret, because in this town you cannot be a magical person. And he has the pointy ears, and he is somehow magical. Magical creatures, their powers or their magic manifest themselves over time. So his is not shown yet how he's going to come out. There's little plants that grow, magical plants, and there's this gardener who is the father of this kid Thorn, who Wynd has a crush on, and the father grows these plants, and he doesn't grow them on purpose, but sometimes these magical plants pop up, and his father destroys them because they've been taught to crush everything that's magical. It's just not normal. This town, this kingdom has all groups of people. It has a very diverse group of people living there. But what they all unite against is they hate magic. They hate magical entities. They say that magic is against humanity, so to speak. In this first issue, Wynd is he's having his lunch, and he works part-time at this diner, Miss Lola's diner. It's like a pub diner kind of saloon place. And it's a very organic look to this book. That's one thing I like about it. It's the artwork is beautiful. The organic look is just like it takes its time telling the story. So if you're looking for action and fist fights, lots of that, you're not going to find it in this. But what you're going to find is a story where there's a lot of emotion, there's a lot of love expressed, and it's a very human story, even though some of the characters are not technically human. It's very well written, very beautifully drawn and colored. So you can tell what's going to happen in the beginning. That's going to be an adventure, and these kids, Wynd, his stepsister, and eventually Thorn and the prince. Thorn is a friend of the prince. Somehow they become friends. The prince doesn't have very many friends. He's been sheltered. He's not a real nice guy, but Thorn is such a sweet dude that he sees the good in everyone, and he tries to help the prince become more of a loving person. The king is dying, and the prince is in line to become the head or the new king, and he really doesn't want to be the new king. He doesn't want to have to fulfill all these rules about magic and separating the races from the humans from the magic folk. He's despite his rudeness and his roughness, he's really got a good soul. So he decides to run away. He tells, spoiler alert, this is in the first issue, so if you're going to read it, you're going to find out anyway. they plot to run away from the throne and to run to the north. So eventually they end up running into Wynd, who has to leave too, because there's this character, the bandaged man, who is my new favorite villain. Uh, I love this guy. I love drawing him and everything. He's my new favorite villain. The bandaged man seeks out magic folks. He claims he can smell them. So it's kind of like, he looks kind of like Hush from the Batman series. And it kind of reminds you of, it's kind of like Tinian uses maybe some amalgams of characters from different books. I mean, nothing is original. Nothing new under the sun is pretty much new. So you just put your spin on whatever old tales have been told before. Maybe like the child catcher from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Maybe the combination of those two. This big strong guy with bandages who just seeks out magic folks and just kills them. Now, Wynd is an all ages book, but there's some rough stuff in here. I mean, there's no cursing, there's no nudity, nothing like that. But there's a lot of beloved characters die in this book, and and the characters feel it, and you feel it. And unless you're made of stone, you're probably gonna feel some. You're gonna be moved by certain parts of this book, of this story, this 5-part series. So, yeah, I don't want to give away much of the story as I try to do in all of my reviews, but pick up Wynd. It's probably going to be in a trade pretty soon, and it's going to return with issue 6 in May of next year. So probably like maybe March it'll be coming out. Probably solicited maybe in February or something like that. But it'll be out next year, and they're going to keep the numbering. It'll be number 6, but it'll be book 2. Yeah, Wynd. Pick up the trade, pick up the issues. You can probably get them all over because everybody's reading Batman and not paying attention to this book. But I highly recommend it if you are open to indie books and if you love books that are driven by heart rather than by action. I mean, there is action, and there is killing, and there is all kinds of bad things happening, but it leaves you with a good feeling at the end. So Wynd is by Boom Studios, who can do no wrong these days. So that is it for this Indie Comics review. Thanks for stopping by. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you in my next video. Hey, don't forget to subscribe and leave a thumbs up.